You're listening to the Fringianity Underground podcast. Fringe topics with a Christian point of view. Now here's your host, Leo Rutledge.
This week's show is a lot different than my other shows before, and this one's not really on any topic specifically. This week's show is a break from the series I've been doing on my analysis of the Book of Enoch. But this show is really just going to kind of cover where I kind of have thoughts on bringing the show in the future and how I want the show to be and where I kind of see my future. That's kind of how I want to do the show this week. I don't know. It's probably going to be the most unpopular show ever because it's just me, basically. But it's just some ideas of where I think the show should go and what I want to do with it, and kind of some stuff that I'm working on. So, with that, let's begin the show. So I want to start off with asking for prayer from any Christian listeners. I don't know if all of you are Christian listeners or whatever. But since a little while back, I guess I'll just tell the story. A little while back, I lost my job. And I hate talking about myself, and I hate pointing these things out or even getting into my personal life in a sense. I mean, some of you that know me might have seen some stuff on Facebook, but that's not my whole life, okay? If you see something on Facebook, that doesn't mean that's the whole person and that's all they're all about, you know? But the thing is I lost my job a while back, and it takes a lot for me to talk to you or talk to the listeners about this. But it really sucks, you know, when you lose your job after you've been working somewhere for like 12, 13 years, you know, whatever. It's really kind of hard when you don't really know anything about getting another job anymore because you've been just so used to, you know, the same schedule and the same setup for so long. And it's kind of stressful because it puts the weight on my wife who's working. Yeah, I get unemployment, but it's not that much. And the work that's out there is part-time. A lot of stuff is part-time, and it kind of sucks, the system that they have set up. And a lot of people here who listen to the show might even know what I'm talking about and totally get what I'm talking about here. But the reason why I'm saying that is since then, kind of things have been just kind of all over the place. I mean, I haven't lost my whole life or anything yet, or nothing like major's gone, like completely to crap. But I guess the thing is I've been just dealing with a lot of crap, you know? For a while there, I had a friend that was kind of acting up and kind of getting a little weird, and I'm not going to get into that, but I had some stuff going on, and I'll put it this way. I believe it's spiritual warfare that is against me or whatever. I don't know exactly if it is, but I'll put it this way. It's like I have ideas for what I want to do in my future, but it's like certain things just keep stopping that and just knocking it down. Or maybe I'm just not supposed to do certain things, but it's like I'm not supposed to advance to the next level Or it's like I'm not saying it right. I'm not saying that it's not like I'm supposed to be, moving on up and doing better things. Like some people don't ever move from any place, that they're at, really. I'm not better than anyone, okay? But the thing is I try to do more with my life. I want to do something that matters. So in doing so, I keep on running into this wall, or things just keep on going wrong, I guess. I just want to say I want people to pray for the show, or pray for me, or pray for, things to get better, or pray for the Lord to provide a path to do better things for me. Because, when I lost the job, I hated the job anyway, so it didn't really bother me so much. The only thing that bothered me is that job was supporting my wife's health insurance, so she could get her meds that she needs because she had a kidney transplant. She needs to take those kidney transplant meds in order to survive. And they're pretty expensive if you just buy them outright. But luckily we got that kind of squared away. We got on her company's health insurance, and things kind of worked out. That was kind of a blessing. But at this point, I don't have any insurance because that'll be $400 more out of her check every month. And I've tried, the state-run crap, and that's still around, I think that was $900 a month. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to get into complete specifics here, but I'm just saying that life is kind of up and down. I don't know where things are going to go. So pray for me. And I hate to say this, but I think I'm kind of prideful because I don't like to ask for people, to support me or ask for prayer or ask for stuff, because I just hate to be a burden on people. Because in the past, I have asked for people, I just don't trust people a lot. And I know that's wrong. As a Christian, I should be more trusting or whatever. But I've trusted people in the past, and they have completely let me down. In fact, I was worse off when I trusted them than if I would have just trusted myself, And I hate to say that, but that's the history I've had with people. But I think I can trust you guys with prayer. So I'm not trying to say that you're not trustworthy or anything. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about at the beginning of the show. I guess I'll move on to the next thing, my ideas, and the reason why I think that the enemy, the devil or whatever, is kind of working against me, is because I think I have some good ideas. Now maybe I'm just full of myself. I don't know. I have some ideas. I'm good at working with wood and building stuff. I'm not the most creative at coming up with some designs sometimes, I notice, but I do come up with some stuff, and I have a shop on Etsy.com where I sell stuff, and right now it's not full of anything, so don't go looking or anything. I'm trying to get a inventory built up before I put it online, and some stuff would be too big to actually ship, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm probably going to just put it on Craigslist or something nearby so it's closer. And, I've tried to sell some of this stuff already on Facebook, and Facebook, the sales thing on there is a joke because people will like what you did, and then that's it. You never hear from anyone again, Someone will comment and say, that's cool, and that's it. And whatever, I'm not complaining. But the thing is I'm trying to do that, and yes, I'm looking for work. But on the other side of this, me and my wife have talked about going back to the Philippines for a month. So I don't know whether I should go and look for work, because you know what happens when you get a job, right? You can't take a vacation forever. And when you get a vacation, it's a week. So what are you going to do? If you have things you have to do with your family in the Philippines, I'm not going to get into details, but stuff that's kind of important that takes a little bit of time, it's hard to do that when you just start a job. So I don't know what I'm doing with that right now. Speaking of the Philippines, I have ideas about what I'd like to do with that too, but I'll get into that in a little bit. Basically right now what I do is I work on my music, the Bible Underground. That's my project. I don't call it a band because it's just me. Through technology, one person can be the whole band nowadays. And with software, I use my iPad for a whole recording studio, everything. And then I bring it over to my computer, and then I do whatever I need to do there to put it up to sell or whatever. But at the moment, I've been working on a 24-song album, which is probably the longest album I've ever done in my life. I mean, the last album I actually finished was just instrumental music. It's Christian instrumental music, basically. And it's not this airy-fairy, like, light stuff either, so people who are looking for classical Christian music don't assume that that's the kind of music I make. My music is more geared toward getting the younger generation interested in the Bible. Now, maybe some people out there will say that means that music's from hell, and it's from the very pits of hell, and it's worldly or whatever. But guess what? If it does, if it leads people to Christ, and it's not insulting to Christianity, or it's not insulting, or it's not whatever. I don't believe that it's anti-Christ if it's preaching the message of Christ. So anyway, I'm not going to go there right now. But the Bible Underground is a project that I've been working on for quite a while, and now I'm working on my second album. And it's really tough when you're all by yourself. And I'm not the best at being a musician, but I somehow have managed to. I don't know. I can do this stuff. I just have a way I do it, and it's just kind of the way I do it. Everyone does their thing a little different, and I have my little style of how I do it too. But the music is it's layered with many different sound effects, different drums, different instruments, all kinds of stuff, and it's electrical. It's got a little bit of an industrial rock sound mixed with kind of a 90s almost theme, sometimes 80s even, but it all comes from the new wave era in the 90s or 80s. That's kind of where my music comes from. But the point is, it's a truther type of theme / Christian. Some songs are not Christian really at all. It doesn't really mention Christ or anything. It just points out, something that's wrong in society or whatever, But this album's not going to be instrumental. It's going to actually have lyrics. And I have been working on those lyrics, and I have been working on singing and doing all the stuff I need to do to get this thing done. And even when I do get these 24 songs completely done, I'm still not sure quite how to master the album. The last album I did not master. I just listened to it until I figured out how to make every song exactly the same volume, and everything seemed to be equal, and all the same level. So that's what I did with that. But this time around, this is a more professional album, and I want to actually do this right, because some of these songs really are my heart and soul. But I hate talking about myself. I hate talking about all this stuff. I hate promoting, because that's the very thing that I kind of hate to hear when I listen to podcasts myself. I hate it when I hear people like Rick Wiles or something on True News or something. Everything's promotion, talking about it's all about me. It's a selfish type of thing. I recently even worked on a song that talks about that very subject. And the selfie generation kind of thing, where everyone's narcissistic, and selfish and talking about me and I'm the product. I need to sell me, that type of thing. And that's actually a song that I'm going to release soon. That's beside the point. The thing is that's one of the things I'm working on right now in my time without work and all that. And in this podcast, I have put work into this. Sometimes I don't have a lot of time for this show, Sometimes I get going on these wood projects or whatever, the crafts that I'm trying to make. Me and my wife, too. My wife's making crafts, too. And we're kind of trying to put together an inventory and try to sell that, because I believe in the old honesty, honest job, trait, like the disciples in the Bible. I mean, they're tent builders, I want to have some kind of a simple, physical little. I believe that every Christian should have their own business. I don't believe that they should work for another person so much, because as it is in this society, we have a lot of people who have run up their credit cards into debt, who have debt in cars, debt in houses, all these things that they'll never ever pay off. It just keeps on perpetuating. the debt just keeps on spinning, and you basically never ever own anything. Well, in other countries, that's not the way it is. In other countries, there's a lot of people that actually want to buy things and own things, and they don't go out and buy things with loans and stuff so much. They just buy things, or they save up for it, and then they buy it outright, and then they own it. In other countries, they don't pay land tax like we do here in the U.S. You know, that's kind of it's a U.S. thing. Everything in the U.S. is kind of work like a slave and just keep working, because then you can get stuff. You can get more trinkets. That's kind of the U.S. model of business and the society here. So my belief is that every Christian should just try to have their own business and get out of the world system as much as possible. Because whenever that mark of the beast comes along, they're going to require you to take the mark or die, you know. So if you're out of the system and you're working, basically making things out of wood or whatever, craft stuff, like I'd like to do, eventually you might be able to make money for a little bit longer before they try to start pushing it on you with the mark and stuff. And I ain't going to get into the rapture because you should have been gone before the mark. I ain't going to get into any of that. I don't believe in that. So anyway, I believe every Christian should have a business and their own way of making money so that they can support their family and not have to worry about a company that lets them go. And now they're left with nothing, you know, because jobs are becoming scarce for certain kinds of employees, I'll put it that way. And people who don't have a college degree, or they're not a nurse, or, you know, these things, you know, those people struggle because they have to have a full-time job. And unfortunately, because of health insurance and all kinds of different things, full-time jobs have become kind of scarce in a lot of states, and they're all part-time, 20 hours a week, 20 hours a week. Well, if you had to have 2 part-time jobs to make 1 full-time job, that is ridiculous. I mean, that is absolute, just ridiculous, okay? This is all my opinion, okay? So if you don't like what I'm saying, then you can turn the show off. The thing is I'm trying to make it to where I can have my own business and not have to worry about working for the worldly people that seem to be more and more against Christians every day. I mean, you could say what you want to say about Trump, but at least he's not really pushing anything that's anti-Christian. I mean, I don't think that he's the greatest. I mean, he seems a little too egotistical, but he's not going after the Christians like Hillary would have. Unfortunately, the people who follow her and Obama and the Democrats in general, or the crazy people on the streets that have no idea what they're protesting anymore, they just know that they want all the illegal refugees or whoever to just come here. And they don't know about any terrorism. They don't think about any drug cartels. They don't think about any human traffickers. No, we don't think about any of that stuff. We just want to be able to let everybody in, whatever. So those people seem to be a little bit off. They don't think. They haven't actually thought this stuff through before they went out in the street and protested. And there's a certain percentage of them that are just working for George Soros and taking a check to do the protest. But once those guys start going in line, then the other people are like, hey, these people got a good point, you know, and then they walk right behind them. So there's always going to be sheep following. Unfortunately, there's sheep being led to the slaughterhouse, and they need to be woken up with the truth. That's another rant for another time. I believe that we need to have a business as Christians and try to be self-sufficient. And I think that in the future, Christians should all be trading amongst each other, you know, so that the world might want to come in and ask, you know, well, why are you trading amongst each other, you know, and maybe they might want to might want to buy the products of a Christian. If we put a lot of heart and soul into what we make, and we're creative, and I mean that because there's a lot of Christians out there that are just not creative. I mean, the Christian music today, that's why I make music, because of the Christian music today is not creative. They don't do anything that's original. They just go, oh, this is what the world's doing. Let's just make that. But that's a soapbox I'm not going to get on right now. But I'm just saying that Christians need to be creative. We have a creator that created everything. I mean, obviously he's a very good creator, and if he created us in his image, then we have some creativity in us too, right? So why don't we use that? I mean, just magnify that. I mean, even Jesus, some say he was a carpenter, some say he was a craftsman of some sort, we don't know. Well, whatever. But even Jesus was working with his hands. We know that. So even Jesus himself was physically working. So anyway, I'm not going to talk about that forever, but that's kind of what I'm trying to lean toward. I'm trying to move toward doing some stuff, honest work with my hands, so that we can have a Christian business, so we can make our own money and not have to rely on the world. I'm sick and tired of relying on a bunch of atheists, a bunch of people who proclaim themselves to be Christian, but they have no idea about it, and all they do is the opposite of Christianity. People who are greedy, people only think about money, and they'll say they're Christian, because they always do, but it's just a country club to them, that type of thing. I'm saying let's have some real Christians that really trade with one another, that actually take care of each other, so that we can survive in this world as it gets darker, And maybe, just maybe, the world might want to buy our products and benefit us and see the good that the Lord is in us by our work that we actually crafted. And, if we did something that's actually creative, that's cool, the world is going to want to buy that. And I'm not saying God is about money. I'm just saying that we do need money to survive, okay? And I'm not saying that, I'm trying to sell you anything, whatever. I'm just saying that it's a good idea to not depend on the world and not be full of debts and be in debt to the world when you're a Christian that's supposed to be in the world but not of the world, So anyway, that's kind of a long rant. I don't know why I even went on that, but that's just kind of one of the things that I've been working on. And I mean, I make stuff that's not, it doesn't say specifically Christian on it either. I'm into other stuff that's not specifically Christian. I know it's considered worldly to some of you, but like Super Mario Brothers. I know this sounds crazy, but I made Super Mario Brothers question mark box. I don't know if anyone has played Super Mario Brothers. It's not a violent game or anything. It's just kind of a fun game. I'm sure somebody will see the Illuminati symbols in it or whatever. But anyway, I made a box that opens on the top, and it's kind of like a little box, thing that you could store stuff in. It's kind of cool looking. It looks like one of those question mark boxes from the video game. So I made one of those, and that was kind of like a pop culture type themed thing that I made. I just thought it was kind of cool I just always wanted to make one of those, and I never actually had the time to do it. So I figured, well, why don't I do it now, So that's one of the things I got for sale on the thing. But you can message me on Facebook or something if you want to know more about it, So between my music and working on crafts and like do-it-yourself type of stuff, I've been thinking for a while on this subject. Now this is kind of me getting into another subject here, but this is kind of the future of the show. For a long time, since before I even started this show, I really wanted to, I don't know how to explain this. I've always longed to be a missionary. I've always just felt like I'm supposed to be just doing something that matters. I mean, those words have stuck with me for a long time. I should be doing something that matters. For a long time, I've kind of felt that I should be a missionary. I should be doing something that matters, helping people, helping other people, using my craft abilities, because I'm very good at like random, just, build it out of whatever, crafting, And that's kind of one blessing that I did learn from the job that I hated, is I had to kind of throw stuff together really quick sometimes in the past. So I had to learn how to craft things on the fly. So if we need a box, I got to make this box out of wood immediately, and it has to be this size. And I'd just be able to just throw it together, And, of course, that wasn't like like living room furniture type quality, but you know what I mean. But the thing is I've always wanted to go and I just wanted to leave America and just go somewhere and just live and take care of some people, help people, feed people, whatever, you know. And there are certain ministries, I'm not going to say their name, but there is one specific one that my wife's Filipino, so we have family in the Philippines, so you're going to hear me talk a lot about the Philippines, okay? I'm not going to get into that right now, but my point is it's with the Philippines, is there's a ministry in the Philippines that actually, where a guy basically left America and just left and went over there, and he didn't have a lot of money. But I'll tell you this, the Lord had to be with him, because there's no way that this guy could pull off what he did without the Lord's help. But he went over there, and he went to a small little island area in the Philippines. I mean, there's like 7,300 and some islands in the Philippines. But anyway, and he basically went and seen all the poor people in the streets there, all the kids laying on cardboard, and they were half naked or whatever. And he just thought, you know, I have to do something. I can't just let this happen. So he actually started a ministry, just basically put it together out of just whatever. And he started taking in these street kids and a lot of young girls that were prostitutes at a young age, which is basically like human trafficking almost. And he started taking in these people and feeding them and trying to get them to the hospital, whatever they need, you know, their needs, and fulfilling them. And now he has a building where he can, you know, preach the gospel, and and all these Filipinos sit there, they come in and they sing, they learn, these kids that would be on the streets learning how to, you know, sell drugs or whatever. And they can come to his little place, and they're, you know, taken care of. They have food, water, shelter, whatever, you know. And there's a lot of street kids in the Philippines. I know a lot of people think, well, there's a lot of people in America that's poor. Yes, but a lot of people in America are poor with an Xbox, or a lot of people are poor with, you know, food stamps, and they're taken care of by the government in some way. I know there are some that aren't, but in the Philippines, they don't have clothing. They don't have an Xbox. They don't have shelter. They do not have food stamps or government assistance. They just have their two hands, and that's it. So there's a big difference between American poor and Filipino poor. Now, that's something that I feel strongly about. I mean, when you watch some of these people, when you actually see them, I've been there. When you actually see the poor in the Philippines, it makes you cry. It hurts you. It should hurt you. It should convict you. It should make you want to do something. If you have Christ in you, you should be crying for these people. And that's what it does to me. It breaks me down. I don't know. I'm kind of a mess when it comes to that type of stuff. I mean, I get emotional too easy, I think, but whatever. A lot of guys are like, oh, you know, you're not supposed to cry. I don't care. Whatever. The thing is I'm sure Christ would have tears in his eyes when he sees how these people have ended up in their life. That's not how he intended them. It's because of the world and the situation and sin that these people have ended up this way. My idea is to eventually do basically what that guy did that moved to the Philippines. It's just kind of something that I've been talking to the Lord about. I don't know, it hasn't happened yet, so a lot of people will say, well, then that means it's not meant to be. Well, you know, sometimes other people, you know, like this guy that I'm talking about, try not to say his name, basically he started getting donations. Now, I don't know much about how to do donations, and I don't think that there's a lot of people who would donate to me anyway, but I've been thinking about that. And my wife doesn't like it, I think, because it's a little bit of a pride thing. But the donation thing, I've kind of been back and forth on that. in my head for years because I hate it when I hear donate, give money to me, whatever. Because I always think of those pastors that are like, oh, I'll bless this prayer cloth and send it to you for a $5,000 donation. No, I can't stand that. That is not Christianity. So that's not what I'm doing here. But in the future, if things go right, what I want to do with this show is I want to actually change it completely. I want to go to the Philippines, and if I could ever have a donation thing where I could have people take care of whatever it takes to do this podcast and maybe donate to the people. Not to me, it would be to the people that I'm going to take care of in the Philippines. But the idea is to go there and build a structure like this other guy did, because it's a good idea, where the street kids can come in the big inner city, because there's so many people. And these people I could talk to. And there's one thing that I feel strongly about. I want to bring a lot of these Filipino people out of their mindset that the Catholics have taught them. Yeah, they'll say they're Christian all day long. That's good. They know Christ. Okay, that's good. But they have a Catholic mindset. So when you go to the Philippines, it's always, Mary, the mediatrix, whatever, all this stuff. And it's Mary, Mary, Mary. And it's this weird idol worship. They got these idols of Mary and the little baby. And it's like, I don't think they understand the detail behind all that. They don't understand that they have been taught a system of prayer to things and works and all these things that they don't really need. Yeah, they can pray to the saints all day. The saints aren't going to answer them. Only Jesus can do that. They can pray to Mary all day long. That ain't going to do no good. Mary ain't going to save them. Only Jesus can do that, So what I would like to do is minister to these people and get them out of the Catholic mindset and into the biblical mindset, where they're actually believing in the Bible and reading the Bible, not listening to the Pope, listening to the Bible, listening to just the Word of God, and having them check even the things I tell them. That's what I want these people to learn. I want these people to be vigilant Christians, real Christians, because that's what they need. I mean, you can have the Catholics have taught so much propaganda of the Church of, the Vatican Church there, that these people don't even know that they're being lied to. And that's the hard part, is getting them out of the matrix into reality. And they already have branches that are leading that way because they do know about Jesus. And I'm not saying all Filipinos are this way. And there's even some pagan Filipinos, and there's even Muslim Filipinos. There's a lot of different people to minister to. But my point is I'm not a minister, but I know enough to wake people up. I know enough to talk to these kids and, to talk to them. And yeah, I don't speak their language, but my wife does. So it's kind of a good thing. Between me and my wife, we could do this. And that's not even the full picture. There's other aspects that I want to go down. Now, branching out with this podcast, what I'd like to do with this podcast is eventually take and make it to where I can record and I could stop talking so much. Maybe I'll say a little intro at the beginning, but really it's not about me. Where I can turn this podcast around the other way so that it's just recording the audio of the stories of these people so that they can tell their testimonies, so that they can tell their story of the things that they have witnessed in the streets, so that other people are not alone, so that other people know that they can come out of this. They can come out of being a prostitute on the streets at age 13. They can come out of being, a kid just, scrounging for money and looking for pesos in the Philippines, and they can actually stop serving and giving their money to basically a pimp and start actually keeping it and taking care of themselves, and they can actually take care of their family. Maybe they can do something. Maybe their mom and dad are drunk all the time, because that happens a lot in the Philippines too. Well, maybe they'll know enough to maybe get their parents to come to church. You know, I don't know. These are just some ideas. But the goal is to record the testimony of people who really are dealing with the real stuff in the streets. I like to hear the stories of some of these people. I actually watch videos of the testimonies of some of these Filipino people. And yeah, they don't speak the best English. I don't care about that. My point is their heart. If you can see where their heart is at, that's the most important thing. That's kind of what I want this show to become eventually. I kind of want it to stop being about the New World Order and all that stuff. And I want it to start being about something that is even more, matters even more. And that is feeding the poor and helping them to get to know Christ. You know, we're supposed to preach the gospel throughout all of the world. And we're supposed to feed the poor and help those in need. Those are the most basic things that Christianity is built on. So I'm kind of I guess I'm going back to the basics eventually. If I can get to the Philippines and do this, and like I said, it'll be a donation thing. Because like the videos that will go up, I'll have a thing where you can donate to that person, you know, or I'll have things where you can donate to the ministry because I want to take these kids off the street that I see, and I want to bring them in and maybe get them set up, get them to where they know something and get them working. I don't know. Set up maybe a shop where I can help show them how to craft and build things because I know how to do that. You know, maybe I'll set it up so some of these kids can help me make music even because I know how to do that to a certain degree, you know. These kids, and some of them are not really stupid. They haven't been in school very much, and that's another thing. Some of these kids, school's not like a public school here where it's just paid for. There you have to pay for like a year of school, and you have to pay for uniforms. So that's another thing that they might need. Basically, what'll happen is I'll end up building a website. The website will have a donation thing. And I will have videos on there of the interviews with these people. And I will have videos showing the things that I do, the things that are, you know, I'll make it very, you know, clear where everyone can see the things that are being done. And people can donate. That's kind of the thing that'll be how it'll be set up. And I know it's not a breakthrough thing that no one's ever done before, but it's something that I believe in. And I feel called to do this. And also, I have a family in the Philippines. We have some land there. We have some stuff where we could actually go there. Of course, it takes money to live. And plus, my wife's meds needs to be paid for. So that's why I haven't done this already. But I have always wanted to just go there and live anyway. Because I just love the culture and this system. And I'm not saying that I need money to go live in the Philippines because I want to live on vacation all the time. No, I'm not saying this because of that. I'm saying this because I really do want to do something that matters in my life. I'm tired of working for other people and helping them to pay for their new truck and their new lifestyle. Meanwhile, it's not benefiting Christ. It's not benefiting anyone but themselves, you know. I'm tired of my back being worn out to serve someone else who's not doing anything for the kingdom. I want to do something for the kingdom and then have it benefit a great amount of people in the long run. That's the goal, okay? And like I said, I like to be hands-on, physically learning, you know, teaching whatever wood crafts and all that stuff. And that's kind of how I am. And that's where I would like this show to go. And I don't know if anyone even is going to listen to this show. Usually when I talk about something I'm passionate about, the listener numbers are extremely low, so whatever. For those of you who actually listen and actually care about stuff like this, thank you very much. You don't know how much it means to me. And another thing, I wish that I could hear more of the podcast listeners' voices. I mean, it'd be nice if some of you messaged me or said something about, you know, what you like about the show, you think I did wrong. I don't know. just something, because sometimes I feel like I'm talking into a vacuum and it's like nothing. I'll put it this way, to be real with you. Some weeks I feel like just not doing the show. This week was one of those weeks. I almost did not do the show. It's literally Saturday, and I released the show on Sunday, and I wasn't going to do the show until right now, and it's 1:50 in the morning. But for some reason, I just felt, you know what? Why don't I just tell the listeners exactly everything that I'm thinking and what's going on, you know? So I decided to just be honest and just do a show on this, you know? So that's what I'm doing. But I just want to thank the people who actually listen every week, even to the hard episodes on Christian persecution or, you know, human trafficking, my passionate projects, stuff like that. I know it's not good stories, it's not the New World Order, but it's important. So anyway, that's kind of the thoughts of the future of the show. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't know if any of you have any ideas. Maybe you can throw some ideas at me, message me on Facebook, something like that. I don't know. And like the show, and please listen, review it on, or give a review and some 4 stars or 5 stars, whatever, on iTunes or something like that, because it helps the show become more popular, because I don't think this show is reaching enough people and whatever. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have for this week. So with that, thank you for listening.
If you enjoy this show, please feel free to share it. You can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, and most podcatchers. And if you'd like to support the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Spreaker or wherever you find this show. And for more information on this show, go to the Fringianity Underground podcast Facebook group and like us. Images will be posted there for this show and others as well. Please check Spreaker or wherever you get this podcast every Sunday evening for new episodes. And thank you for listening.